Hey guys, you're watching Let's Talk About Prepping. I'm Tyler, your host, and in this video I'm going to show you the soil that was created in my earthworm compost bins over the winter. Now we all know that compost makes better soil than you're ever going to be able to buy at the store. But not as many people know that adding worms to the soil makes it decompose much faster and into a much more high quality soil, as well as the fact that you can leach off their urine, the worm tea, if you will, and use that to water your garden beds with. And it has a lot of great nutrients, nitrogen, various other things that your plants crave. So last summer, I gathered a bunch of earthworms from my garden and I threw them into these compost bins, which look more or less like this. Mostly coffee grounds, coffee filters, some brown bag, some weeds, and a bunch of fruit clippings and things from the kitchen. And over the winter, turned into this, some really prime looking soil. To be honest, I have a hard time believing that this was a bunch of banana peels and food bits and egg cartons, but as you can see, there's still a lot of eggshell in there, and that's fine because that's just going to continue breaking down and leaching calcium into the soil for years to come. But as you can see, this is just prime black soil. It smells like the floor of a forest. And I'm really just dumbfounded that over the course of a few months, all of those food scraps have turned into what, aside from some bits of egg carton and eggshell and stuff like that, a few little bits of food here and there, some acorn husks, avocado husks, stuff like that. It's turned into some amazing smelling soil. So I can't wait to add this into my garden and start playing with a few different soil mixtures with this stuff in it. It's nice and warm. It's still got plenty of, like, this is a corn cob that's still breaking down. That's plenty of carbon. I got lots of sticks and woody bits in there. So that stuff's going to continue breaking down for some time to come and continuing to add nutrients to the soil that my plants are going to eat up as it gets provided. So this one over here is another one. Really happy with this soil as well. As you can see, it's just turned into some real nice crumbly dirt. This also just smells like the floor of a forest, probably due to the fact that I've got a lot of natural leaf mixed in there. But I cannot wait to grow something in this stuff. That's some leachate, some worm drippings left over from overwintering. There's the strawberry garden. Those guys are taking off like a rocket. Anyways, I cannot strongly suggest enough composting and using worms to do it. Now, I added worms to all of my compost, so I don't really have a comparison for how this stuff would have done without the worms in it. But judging from some input from other people, their compost takes much longer than this took me. None of this dirt has been composting for even a year so far. Some of it has been in there for less than just a few months. I'd say less than 4 for some of this stuff. And yes, some of it isn't fully composted. There's still some bits of things in here. But like I said, the active decomposition is going to continue adding nitrogen and various other things into the soil, and it's going to make for some very happy plants. So how can you do this for yourself? Get a bucket, ideally get a pail like this, stab it full of holes, and start throwing your food scraps into it. You can throw egg cartons, egg shells, natural, just like brown paper bags like you might get at an alcohol store. Just look up a list online for what you can compost. I strongly suggest that you add worms, and there's a lot of information online on certain YouTube channels about what worms like to eat. something that I'm going to get back into as I continue my vermiculture here. I'm going to share that with you guys, and we'll do that journey together. Anyways, just wanted to share you guys the soil that I got out of composting and composting with worms. I can't strongly advise enough that you guys do this if you're gardening, if you're thinking about it. I've spent a fair bit of money on soil from my local nursery, and even though it's some pretty good stuff, it pales in comparison to the quality of this soil, which I made for free, minus the cost of the garbage pail and the original cost of the food that I was eating. But just by putting my food scraps into here rather than the garbage, I now have better soil than I think I could buy most places around here. Anyways, hope that was interesting. Hope you're all doing well, and everybody, stay safe out there.